everybody, I want to Wiisdom here at 2:54 in the morning, Sunday night, Monday morning, whichever it may be. We have got Dr. Krankcase here. Dr. Krankcase is an unfortunate story. I was aware by the time we were introducing him that I couldn't really play as new characters because if they leveled up it would skew all of our data. Their attacks go up. Attack metric goes up, and then the damage numbers, correspondingly go up. And so at that point in time I knew, but unfortunately I think it was a surprise attack and he leveled up. And so I don't think I think we introduced him, maybe opened his chest, and I think we were going down to the dummies, and needless to say he leveled up. So I didn't even get his base health and stats because he was level 2. I had to reset him. We have the quick shot shrine, and of course that'll come in handy for us. But it's a situation where at the time I needed the information, and then of course I didn't really get any requests for him, and I couldn't figure out why. In terms of upgrades, unboxing, yes, upgrades no. And I think it might be a situation like Almanax mentioned. I was like, yeah, I can't understand why nobody wanted to see Krankcase, and he's like, oh, that's because he's my favorite and I upgraded him immediately, type of a thing. And so I'm kind of wondering if that's why no one's been like, hey, do Krankcase, or where's Chaos, And I don't know if maybe that's the case with Mysticat too, or if he's just really kind of under the radar. But nonetheless, we have the good doctor here, one of Chaos's inspirational forces in life, and we need to take a look at his base upgrades here, or base attacks I should say. Primary is going to be goo guns. 16 to 24, they're about the quickest thing you can see in the game. He's got good mobility while he fires them. Contrary to what you would think, the puddles, if I spawn an enemy in right there, the puddles don't really do anything at this point in time, even though it looks like they would. So, does he have a jump attack? Sort of. He's a little unique. He doesn't have anything that's going to deal different damage, but note that he can jump, and he will hone in on the enemy, which is kind of cool. But, if there was a platform, we might be able to do something. I think an issue with him is it's not like a true gun, like a bullet, velocity coming out of the barrel sort of a thing. It's sort of like it just projects a glob of goo. And so instead of having a linear path, parallel to the ground or something for a good distance, it's kind of like it's just shot out with force and then it just arcs immediately. That's why we can kind of hit buzz there. It just, you can see it kind of, it's just heavy, and it's getting shot out, and that's what happens with gravity. So, the thing is, he can jump and do that. It's 16 to 24. Secondary attack is Spin Doctor, which I told people back when I introduced him, don't you go listen to the Spin Doctors, because you're probably going to hear two princes, and some of you did it, and you even admitted that you did it after I told you not to do it, because, truth be told, most of you, if I say two princes and Spin Doctors, I would anticipate that I don't know, maybe 10% of the viewing audience has any clue what I'm talking about. Those people are already affected. The rest of you, I say Spin Doctors, and you think, oh, well, yeah, it's people twist headlines in the news, or, it's a DJ at a club or something, right? No. I will caution you yet again, but if you go, and you just use your little internet machines and you type in Spin Doctors, you're going to see a song called Two Princes. And if you click it, it will be stuck in your head. And every time you see Krankcase, or you use his secondary attack, Spin Doctor, you're going to think of it, and you're going to regret that moment that you defied what I suggested you do, and you looked it up. Because I'm telling you not to, but I know you're going to. And whether you'll admit it or not, it's up to you. But, if you want to spare yourself, if you don't want to live with this chronic disease, don't look it up. Nonetheless, what is Spin Doctor in terms of what Krankcase can do? It's a 1-2-3 attack. What I mean by that is 3 instances of damage, and it's 999. The reason I said he was kind of unique is he can jump and have his primary attack. He can also jump and have the secondary. while it looks like, here it is on the ground, right? It looks pretty mean, but when he comes into it from the sky, it looks pretty menacing, but it still does the same attack damage. So that is at 16 to 24 primary, 9 to 14 secondary, with 3 instances of damage. Jump attack, nothing standalone, nothing we need to worry about. So that said, we're going to do things. You note, we got that purple meter over there I talk about. We've been to the Quick Shot Shrine. We have Dr. Krankcase's Sky Chi ability. So, even though this is the base upgrades, we've got it. We're going to flaunt it. And let's take a look at it. So, dun dun dun. We obviously have all these to pick up, and then paths to select, and, you know, Shoot Goo the Heart. If you don't know that, that's a song reference. I'll go ahead and, Bon Jovi, some of you. That one, Bon Jovi, that would be, I believe, a couple years older than Spin Doctor's time frame, but way, way, way more popular. So there's probably going to be more of you that know that. Now, coming over here to the Sky Chi, you're like, Goo Goo Gashoot, good shot. What I don't know what that is. Well, what if I were to say Goo Goo Gashoo? Does Goo Goo Gashoo, anything? Kind of string it together. Anyone? We're going back a long time now for this one. We're leaving in the 80s and the 90s. We're dropping back to the 60s. Beatlemania is here. And anyone? Don't look it up just yet. Goo Goo Gashoo, okay, if we do that. Anyone? No? Goo Goo Gashoo? That one, if I say it that way. That is actually a reference to I Am the Walrus from the Beatles. If I'm not, I could be totally wrong, but that's what I would assume. But that's the reason we're talking about it. We're going to showcase it. The Ultimate Sensei attack, right trigger to perform your Sky Chi power. Shoot your goo at everyone. Use left stick to move around. So, interesting history behind that song. It's, yeah, well, I could spend hours on this stuff, but it'll seem, if you pull it up, like, Spin Doctors will be stuck in your head. You'll be like, oh yeah, I recognize that Bon Jovi thing. And then this one, you'll be like, what the heck, man? Like, what was going on in the world when this was pinned? And primary idea is that it was actually written just to confuse a school teacher, like that was trying, I guess, somewhat obsessively trying to, like, basically become song meanings. Is it .net or .com? I've been on that site in a long time. Used to do that stuff in high school and college. And needless to say, though, back then no internet, so I guess it was just like, well, hey, it's the AP class. Let's talk about song meanings. And needless to say, Lennon just wrote out some really, really random crud. And Goo Goo Gashoo, that's what we're going to assume this is. We could be wrong, but I don't think anybody's going to have a better explanation than that. So let's check it out, though. It should be interesting. So what we want is four dummies sitting around us, ever so innocently. And we're going to trigger this thing. I will count, and we'll see if we can get a time frame on it. And we'll also attempt to look at the numbers. Hopefully it's a uniform number. Some of these, you sort of just see in action, and there's like everything dies, and you see a number pop up. And then with other ones, like we just saw, with Tri-Tip, it's sort of like you've got 35, 35, 35, 35, 41, sort of a thing. And I'm hoping this is kind of just the animation and then one number. Why? It's easier to document. They basically kill everything anyway. This is what you need to know about Sky Chi. So here we go.
Crank up the Sky Chi! A surgical strike. I'd say that procedure went well.
I'm going to say 7 seconds, but it's doing 16 to 24. That makes me think it may go up. We'll have to see. But 16 to 24, 7 seconds, mass. Okay, we'll just, you know what it is. It's like I said, it kills everything. So let's go buy some upgrades.
Let's go over your test results.
Oh, actually, let's go over this. Attack 8, armor 10, speed 8, luck 10, health 240. Whenever I had that happen, and I like accidentally got him to level 2 before we even got to come to this screen, I sent out a tweet and asked if anyone had that information. I think Octane Blue was the first one that got it to me, so big thanks to him. I believe later on that evening, or I guess it was probably a deal where it was probably like supper time when he saw that here in America, and that would mean it's like the middle of the night morning in Australia. So shortly thereafter, Almanex also got the information. There may have been someone else, Hunter or someone, that put it up on YouTube. I think there were 3 of you, so big thanks to all of you for helping out. But, nonetheless, here we go. 16 to 24 Goo Guns, 9 to 14 Spin Doctor, and a catchy tune. And hat bots here. Now, I didn't ramble too much in this one, but we just covered some very strange topics and talked about music in the 60s, 80s, and 90s. So we're doing our thing here. Hat bots is the tertiary attack. Press Y to throw out hat bots to fight for you. This is going to be a situation where we come in and we're going to have. Oh, okay, we can do that too. But 500, 700, 900, 1200 if I remember right, 3300 if I'm accurately remembering everything. But let's get the tertiary and see what we get. So, just gonna see if he despawns and we'll count. Does he do anything if we do anything? Not really. He does go away. Now, can we have 2? No, we can have 1. Okay, so let's get a time frame. About 12 seconds. We're gonna see if we can get a hit count as well. That's the more important one. So 1 active. Dadgum. 12 seconds. And now let's do the real test of times here. Okay. Are you attacking? Where did that 81 come from? Alright, so it was 27 on impact. And what I mean by that is if we throw it in the enemy's face. So 27, half of that would be 13, 5, 14, 41 on the critical. And then the attacks will be 13 to 20. And we need to see the explosion thing again. But watch this, we should see a 27. Boom. Okay, he also didn't attack. $54. Okay. So 13 to 20 explodes at 54 to 81. Simple enough. Now what I want to do is count. I think we can actually queue up the hit count by the number of times this guy spins, even if he doesn't hit it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. Beautiful. That's what we needed to know. I'd rather tell you that it hits 10 times and it runs 12 seconds. So, impact is 27 to 41. We did have the critical that time, if you wondered where that 41 came from. 13 to 20, 10 times. Now, this is something you're probably thinking like, oh, geez, that thing didn't even hit him, and you only have 1 active. Here's the thing. Alright, we're not gonna just like stand here while the little hat bot guy does things. No, we're gonna be doing our thing as well. And he's actually doing significant damage. He's hitting 10 times basically. 13 to 20, that's 130 to 200 over his lifetime, plus an explosion of 54 to 81. So we're looking at worst case scenario 184, best case scenario 281. While we do this, so let's get in 2 enemies in here, and we'll throw this guy, plus the 27 to 41 on impact. But he's been over there holding that guy at bay, and then we just kind of tag team him. It worked out well. It worked out pretty well, I've got to say. So,
As you can see, I have
da-da-dun,
excellent
off we
credentials.
go. Up next is Splats All, folks. Kind of a pun, but can't compete with Mysticat's puns. Spin into goo puddles to cause them to splatter for damage. 700 is the price. And that, of course, makes sense, what we've seen. So let's take a look at it. Oh, dang it. Actually, can he? Well, I guess we need an enemy out for this. Okay, it would have been crazy if those dudes could go through goo puddles and do extra damage. I think that switch is what's screwing him up. Alright, so yeah, we're golden on that front. That said, we need to know what we do when we go through the goo. Oh, I thought we spawned the goo. 43, really? You gotta be kidding me. That's insane. Huh. That's a lot more damage than you would think, which I guess he kind of actually needed it. Yeah, I'll take it, man. So we got our goo puddle. Okay, so 43. Half of that is going to be 21. Oh, that's a strange number, actually. 21.5. So that would be 22. So 65 if we ever saw a critical hit. Up next, base upgrade number 3, which is all spun up for 900. Spin into Hatbots to activate their Seek and Destroy mode. I'm assuming that's going to be a situation where if we spin into it, whether it's on purpose or not, that it would just go straight to an enemy if it has the life cycle left and detonate at 54 to 81. I don't know that for sure, but that's what I would think. So, let's check it out. Get our bot over here. Oh, 50. Ooh, that's cool. So, oh, he does have good AI. Spun into him.
Just got a case of the crankcase.
Okay, that was a fail. There we go. There's this guy. I'm gonna spin into him. Okay, yeah, so just 54 to 81 immediately, which is fine, So all spun up. Spin into Hatbots. Geez, I cannot type that. And probably because I've never typed it before, huh? And it's not one word, it's two. So Hatbots, shame on me. Spin into Hatbots. It seeks enemy and detonates at 54 to 81. So we correctly predicted that one. See, sometimes we can do that, and, other times I have no clue what they mean when they speak of these.
As you can see, I have excellent credentials.
Alright, now this could be big. Hat-tacular increases the maximum number of Hatbots to 3. So those damage numbers I told you that might seem insignificant, which, just to recap, 27 to 41 on impact. If you hit an enemy 3 times with your 3 Hatbots, that's going to be 81 to 123 in and of itself, alright? 13 10 times is 130. 133 times is 390 as your worst case scenario with no criticals. If you were to have criticals every single time, from 1 Hatbot, that would be 200. 3 Hatbots grants 600 damage. And then when they explode at 54, we would have 50, 100, 150, 162, with potential to do 81x3 for 243. So yeah, these guys collectively do some. Plus, they look really cool. They kind of look like a DuckTales character, if you look at them. I mean, old. I don't know what DuckTales is now, if it's anything, but like I'm talking old school NES here. But you can also make out the band and the hat and the sunglasses. So, I guess they're technically goggles, not sunglasses. But I digress. It's awesome. That's what we need to know. Before we do that, let's look at his path names because I'm dying to know. Alright, gotta type this in here. Top path is for the greater good. Dun dun dun. Alright. Improve your goo attacks. That would actually be pretty beneficial because they're not. Then again, I don't know if the spitting into the goo, I guess it would be impacted. Bottom path, what is it going to be? Builder of bots. Improve your hat bot attacks. I'm inclined to think the bottom path would be better, just because so many times in the history of Skylands, I've seen these things where it's like primary versus the minions. Whether it's Sonic Boom or Double Trouble or some other situation, it almost always numerically comes out better with the minion path. This is one of those things, though. The minions are already pretty salty. I mean, they don't have much going for them. But, I mean, when you combine the attack damage numbers, they are pretty significant as is. And if his goo is only doing 16 to 24 from the gun, and that's what you're primarily going to use, it's a situation where you would do the greater good by taking this path. Not Boulder Fist, but good. And yet, this would then enhance what would already be an insane. You know what? In that first thumbnail, I've never really paid attention to what Krankcase does when he throws one. I'm going to do that because in this first thumbnail on this bottom path, he looks like Hobgoblin. Like, he doesn't have his hat on, and his face is sort of somewhat triangular. You know, I'm not talking about the hat bots, but if you look in the background there, that's interesting. We need to investigate. So, did I type that in? I did not. Builder of bots. This could go either way, really. I'm not sure that there's going to be a bad option, but one may likely be better for your playstyle. That's what I'm kind of thinking would happen. But we got something to check out here, and that is, of course, Hat-tacular. Now, the Soul Gem, I know you're like, oh, buy that, buy that. I'm going to make you wait until we do the path. The Sky Chi is different because it's got the meter. I can't, like, just, you know, showcase it 5 times in a row sort of a thing. But when we do the path, you will see the Soul Gem, rest assured. So, Hat-tacular shouldn't change anything aside from the number we can have. Let's actually... He does take... Okay, wow, why have I not been looking at him? Oh, please hit that guy. So yeah, no change in damage numbers, but we can have 3 of them. Let's take a look at this. Get out of my way. I'm showcasing something. Alright, so if we chuck our hat, watch Crankcase's face. He looks so different without his hat. See, this is what happens when you're that person that wears a hat all the time. You take your hat off, and it's like people don't know who you are anymore. It's part of you, you know? It's like Hawaiian shirt guy, you know? If you ever see him and he's not in the Hawaiian shirt like he is every time you run into him, you're like, is that Dave, the Hawaiian shirt guy? You know? And you don't know. You know? So, here we go. Let's see. He actually looks pretty good without the hat. But in that thumbnail, man, he looks like Hobgoblin for some reason. Anyway, let's get some of these clowns in here. Oh, man. This is a party here, isn't it? Now, what would be cool is if you chuck, you know, like the 4th hat bot that shouldn't be there, and then the previous ones explode. That would just be OP. Like, ridiculously OP. Those guys will tag team enemies as well. We've almost filled up the Sky Chi. I feel like we haven't really spent much time with the goo attack, and it's currently our biggest singular damage output, the 43 we get. Oh, come on. How many more do I have to kill?
Sky Chi power
Thank
ready.
you. I love that they announced that because, again, in-game, you honestly might miss that. Hat-tacular, though, can have 3 hat bots at once, which turns out to be a pretty big deal. So, Goo Goo Gashu, we've logged at 16 to 24 for 7 seconds, roughly. Let's go ahead and try this. I may try to tap out of it this time. I haven't really played around with this too much. I felt like I'd ended them sometimes prematurely, but I don't know if you can, so when I see that meter about halfway, I'm going to just tap RT and see what happens. So you have to hold it.
I'd say that procedure went well.
You can stop it. So that would save us a little bit of time. Potentially, I mean, if it charges up to something, it really wouldn't. But oh, but then it has to be full. Oh, okay. Moot point, moot point. What you need to take from that is pretty simple. If you're in a situation where you're like, man, you know, I really need some help, I've got the Sky Chi, I'm going to use it. And you eradicate all the enemies, you know, like we did there. Go ahead, don't let it run out. Just tap RT, and then your meter, you know, it's whatever you have left is better than having nothing, essentially. And then you will have your Sky Chi back quicker. So that's kind of like a advanced strategy for you. Kind of a basic strategy, but, you know, to actually think to, oh, tap RT to stop. Keep something in your meter. It's kind of like if you're playing racing games a lot, you know, and you got nitrous going, you know, and you pass the guy, and then he hits a stop sign, and at that point in time, you can let off the nitrous button, right? And you can save some in case something goes bad, as opposed to just like, whee, you know, and drain it out, and then get past at the last second by some homie, you know? So, yeah, that's what we need to keep in mind with the Sky Chi meter. It's a shame you can't, once it's filled up, if you could kind of like control it in stages, not that you'd get much use out of a secondary because it drains so quickly from the top, but that might have been something beneficial to players. Nonetheless, Krankcase doesn't have anything huge. There's not like a, oh, geez, you know, 180 damage. But it's those little numbers. It's kind of the trigger-happy effect that we're used to from Tech Element gunslingers. 16 to 24, nothing to write home about, but look how many 16 to 24s I'm shooting. This attack is kind of disappointing to me. And I say that not necessarily going through the goo. That's our biggest damage output, believe it or not. Singular damage output. But what I say is disappointing. It's just that you only get 3 hits, right? So you go 1 Mississippi, 2, you know, what, a second and a half? If this had a way to be just a continual spin, that would be very cool. And maybe that's an option in the upgrade pass, I don't know. But that would make the secondary attack, because, I mean, it's 9 to 14. It's doing less damage than the goo guns do, you know. But it's only going to come in spurts of 3, and then you have to stand and stop and awkwardly maneuver. But you can trigger your bots to explode, so, you know. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. I'm thinking what I will do is probably take For the Greater Good first. The top path is going to primarily impact his guns. We'll reset him, then I'll come in and take Builder of Bots, just with the assumption from our previous track record in Skylanders that it will be slightly superior in some way, shape, or form. And then, assuming all that is true, we'll have to make the decision whether or not to reset and go back to the primary path based on how we think we would utilize both. So, truth be told, he's not too shabby just like this, again, because, I mean, just 5 shots is 80, right? So, in the time I do like a 1, 2, 3 with, you know, the Smasher characters, Chopscotch or Tri-Tip, I mean, we can probably fire off 10 plus, you know, at 16, that's 160, so he's not quite competing with him, but, you know, the mobility coupled with the attack, sort of something to contend with. And it's nice a lot of times to have the projectile so you can maintain a distance and, you know, not get one-shotted in nightmare mode or something. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I hope we do the right thing with him. He is someone that I'd hoped there would have been a variant for. I think he would have been a good dart candidate. And I also, he looks very, very suspect when he moves slow like that, doesn't he? It's almost like he's stealthily going along. I thought he would have made a great Valentine's Day variant. I think I mentioned it in his introduction video, but like I know the Valentine Skylander now, but I thought as the Love Doctor, he would have just been phenomenal. Like, I pictured him, you know, like the classic cartoony, you know, white boxers with the pink heart pattern. Like, picture him geared out like that, or at least his hat or something. and a different, color scheme, pastel colors, maybe chocolate instead of I don't know, but I thought it would have been cool, but we'll see. Nonetheless, this is the base upgrades for Dr. Krankcase. If you've taken his path, let me know which one you think I would like. I probably won't change my plans, but it might. We'll have to see. Hashtag, hashtag, hashtag. What do we want to do? Let's go with hashtag walrus. So, hashtag walrus will get you a bonus brick in the Wall of Wiisdom, and hopefully you've learned a little something. We got the Beatles, Bon Jovi, and the Spin Doctors. Quite a night, isn't it? But you're only going to find that stuff on one channel, and that would be mine. If you have not subscribed, I encourage you to do so. If you really want to help me out, tell your friends about the channel. Encourage them to do the same thing. I'm a small channel. I am pretty much the only person I know of that does Skylander videos that is not in a third-party partnership. Therefore, I get cross-promoted over. I kind of just have to fight the uphill battle continually. YouTube has shifted more towards the drama channels. That's not something I do. I don't do the clickbait titles. I don't do the clickbait thumbnails. I don't plaster my face all over the videos. I'm here to play games and commentate them, not have you watch me. I'm much more interested in you seeing Krankcase potentially looks like Hobgoblin, and learning about, crazy things and getting songs stuck in your head than you seeing my face plastered over half the screen with inquisitive looks and dollar signs in the background and drama names and all that crud. So I'm old school. I'm not changing. I'm going to keep it that way. I don't care what YouTube does in terms of leaving me at the bottom. I'm going to do it my way. It's the only way I have fun. That's what I do this for, is for fun. I do it on the side. It is not a job. I don't have some GoFundMe set up where you finance my living and pay for Skylanders. I'm just here doing this, and if YouTube wasn't a thing, I'd have my spreadsheets would be done because I could go way quicker. You'd be amazed how long it takes to render these things, and then with my amazing internet, it takes so little time to upload all these videos too. So that was sarcasm if you didn't know. Like I said, I'm sort of reliant upon the grassroots support here, so if you wonder, hey, your SSA videos had a ton of views, man, what's the deal? Do you suck now? No, I'm still doing the same thing. I have better equipment and better video quality, but I'm not in a third-party partnership, and that's your answer. So just look at my playlist sometime and see if you go to my next video or if you go to some distant channel that does things contrary to how I play the game. So, that said, enough on that crud. Hashtag walrus, though, will get you the bonus brick in the Wall of Wiisdom. What is the Wall of Wiisdom? Well, believe it or not, that is where I thank you, yes, you, the person watching this, for watching my videos. Instead of, the people asking you to give them money or trying to peddle something to you or ebooks or whatever crud they're doing. If you actively participate in the discussion on my channel, I give you in-game shout-outs because I've been doing this for several years now, 5 years or so, and that's what people want. Is they're like, hey, just if you could say, hey, hi, how's it going? Well, thanks for watching. I'd appreciate it. And so I do that, and I take it a step further, and I put your name on a sign, on a brick, in the Wall of Wiisdom. More information on that down below is in the Solo series, my successor to Xbox One Solo Survival, the PC Minecraft. Wiisdom Plays Minecraft. Check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. If you're into Minecraft, check out MineLogix as well. SkylanderClub.com, that is the forum. I created it for folks like yourself. If you like what you see, sign up. Tons and tons of polls there. Anyone can vote. OneOfWiisdom.com is my website. Follow me on Beam, Twitch, and Twitter. And for myself and the good doctor, we will catch you back here for more Skylanders Imaginators research.